What's up? What's up? What's up?
What's up, guys?
We gotta talk into this thing right here.
Oh, we gotta talk into it?
So I'm here with Mike Rockwood. I don't know, Venero. How do you say your last name?
Venero.
Venero.
Don't worry, I've been going to that since birth.
Venero. I just know you as Mike Rockwood. All right, so
I think everybody does.
Yeah. So Mike is a friend of mine, and he's also another local wholesaler in Miami. He does a bunch of fix and flips. He wholesales a ton. He also does the MLS model similar to how we do it. He's been in the game for a couple of years, but he's still fairly new. You started in what, 2016?
Yeah, about 2.5 years ago. It's my third year.
He's pretty new. He's already broken over $1 million a year in revenue, so he knows what he's doing. He's doing something right, at least, I think.
That's what I'm hoping, right?
Yeah. So we're here to find out if he's doing shit right. And we're kind of just going to dive in a little bit of what he's done, how he got started, what's worked for him, and then we're kind of just going to bounce off from there, probably go into some conversation about how to do more deals and all that. But anyways, so Mike, tell us a little bit, man. Tell us kind of how you got started, what were you doing before real estate, and what does things look like for you now in your company and shit?
So yeah, man, I used to be a pharmaceutical sales rep. That's what I actually did prior to getting into the real estate game. And I kind of fell into it by mistake, to be honest with you. I was doing well on pharmaceutical, had a good career, good money, not gonna lie, a pretty good lifestyle. It was pretty chilling. After 5 o'clock, you didn't have to worry about work no more. You know, Fridays came, you really had weekends. It was pretty nice.
Yeah, I hear you, bro.
But nothing, man. My company got bought out by another company, and what no one ever wants to hear, I got to hear. Right? I was top 5% sales guy, and they told us, you know, we're gonna do an interview session. We're gonna bring you out to another company. And all of it was just bullshit, just jumping through hoops, so then they can fire us the right way. And after everything's said and done, they let us out and they gave us a severance package, a little severance package with like 30 grand or something. And I was like, all right, cool, so what do I do now?
What do you do now?
And nothing. A good friend of mine had called me and told me that he wanted me to get into real estate, you know, if I had some extra money. And I told him, look, I do, but I'm not going to invest it.
Right.
That's the reality. I'm not going to invest into that. And I started working for a buddy of mine. And man, it went pretty well. You know, a couple of months into the game, I started realizing what the business was, how much potential you got in this business.
Right.
And nothing. That company didn't work out for me. And I left with a buddy of mine, and we opened up Rockwood.
But let me ask you something real quick, because you went over something that like a ton of people have problems with, and I'm sure you've heard it a couple times. So you went from a job that you were making good money, or you know, roughly how much were you making? 80, 100?
About 6 figures, probably like 120.
So 6 figures. You went from a 6-figure job. You got a severance package for 30K, which is nothing really. What can you do with 30K in a year? Like zero.
Nothing.
Literally, you're probably, a bum is probably more rich than you. But anyways, so you went from a job making 6 figures. Then you took this like venture with somebody else to kind of like start your own thing with him in real estate. Like, basically my question is, what the fuck were you thinking? Like, how did you get from, okay, I don't want 120 grand a year anymore, and I'd rather just try myself? Like, what were you thinking? Like, why did you do that?
Honestly, man, I didn't want that to happen to me again. And that's what I told myself. I'm like, all right, cool. My uncle was like, hey, let's go interview for other jobs.
Right.
You know, we have the credentials, we were top sales guys. And I go, okay, let's do it. But when I sat down and thought about it, I was like, okay, what if I do get that job?
Right.
And then I get back to top salesperson, and then I have that steady income, and then I get fired again.
Right.
You know, is that the move that I want to make?
Yeah.
And so I would listen to audios, I would go to YouTube, I would hear about wholesaling, and I was like, man, if I can sell medicine, right? And I can sell doctors to prescribe my medicine.
Which is not an easy thing.
Which is extremely hard.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I can flip a house,
yeah.
Right? Like, you know, the books say I don't need money. You know, all I gotta do is connect people. And I thought, I'm pretty sure I can do this, you know? When I started working for a buddy of mine, it was a little bit easier because all I had to do was acquire. Then when I branched off, it was a little bit more challenging because I had to acquire, I had to do disposition, I had to figure out the attorney, I had to learn how to do escrows, I learned how to, you know, do assignments or do double closings. It was a little bit more intense, but again, it wasn't, in my eyes, it wasn't rocket science.
Right. No, so really quick, before he keeps going, I just want to hammer on that point. So in his mind, from the 120K, you know, for sure you get paid, to not having that 120K and starting something on your own or with a friend, with a partner, what he thought was, what is the alternative? Which I love that. It's basically, if you can't push yourself to do something, like, you know, go work out, start a business, start wholesaling, etc., you should think to yourself, what is the alternative? You stay the same, you just stay in the same loop of whatever you're doing. If I tell myself, all right, I want to lose 10 pounds, and I'm not going to the gym, I should tell myself, what's the alternative? All right, I'm gonna keep not going, and I'm just gonna look the same or probably get fatter and uglier, and no one will like me. No, I was kidding. So
that's not true, man.
Somebody will like me.
Somebody out there will like me.
I've seen some pretty. All right, let's not get into that so much. Anyway, so I think somebody will like me. I think my mom will at least love me.
Yeah, you always have your mom's love.
My mom will. So, dude, I think that's so key, man. He said, he pretty much sat down and said, all right, I could do that. I could probably get a job for 150, but what's the alternative? I'm just gonna stay there for a very long time or possibly forever. Might as well just try this, right? And I don't know, my guess is that you probably didn't think about it too much. You probably thought that moment and said, fuck it, let me try it.
Yeah, man, the way I looked at it was, all right, cool, I got a degree, I can get back to this. It's not like pharmaceutical industry is gonna disappear.
Right.
It's not like my track record is gonna be wiped out. I'm not getting expunged, it's not a criminal, right? I thought, okay, cool, let's go this way, let's fail. Let's fail enough times until I get frustrated and quit. Or I fail enough times until I make it happen. And if worst case scenario, I go back. Right? But in my head, I was like, no, I'm gonna kind of burn the boats, right? Like how they say, I'm gonna burn the boats. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna make this happen, and I gave myself a 3-year window.
I like it.
Fortunately, it went. First year went a lot faster than I thought. Made a lot more than I expected. Did a lot more than I expected, so it worked out. But that was kind of my idea, you know. Worst case scenario, 3 years later, I become back a pharmaceutical sales rep. Not that bad.
Not bad, right? So that's also good. What's the worst case scenario? All right, I have my degree. In his case, right, everyone has a different kind of setup. In his case, he had a degree. What's worst case? All right, I'll give myself 3 years to try this out. If I'm broke and no one loves me, then I'll just go back and be a pharmaceutical person.
And then I'll gain love again.
And then they'll love me again. So, all right, I love that. So tell us, so you started, kind of like, you started by yourself, and how long did it take you to get your first deal? Do you remember?
Dude, I would say about 4 months. You know, when I worked for the company, it was a little quicker because I had the ability to, you know, hey, what do I do here? What do I do there? But when I left with my buddy to open it up on our own, it took us about like 3 to 4 months for us to get our first deal that actually succeeded. So we got stuff, but we didn't understand what to do. You know, we didn't know how a wholesale works, so we got it under contract and we were like, all right, we got phase 1 now. What's phase 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? So we weren't able to do that immediately, but within like 2 to 3 months, we got our first deal that made us some profit, and at that point, obviously, you know, it hit the vein, and we went for it.
Yeah, dude, and what I like about Mike, and I'm pretty similar, is that like we use a quote in our mind. We don't say it to ourselves, but in our mind, it's like, go into where you can see. When you get there, you will see further. So basically, it's like what he said. He's like, all right, we didn't really know how to do a wholesale that well, but we got the contract. That's phase 1. Now what do we do? Meaning, he didn't know. I'm pretty sure you didn't know phase 5, 6, or 7 before you did that.
That's a funny story how I learned that. That was crazy. If you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
I went to an event, and my attorney to this day, you know, I've been with him for 2.5 years.
I met the guy, super cool dude.
Yeah, Gabriel, right? So I went to an event. It was our first event that I had ever gone with my partner at that time, and we meet this attorney, and the attorney's like, oh, what are you guys doing here? And we hadn't done a deal yet, right? And we're like, no, we're wholesalers. And he's like, oh man, that's awesome. I own a title company. You know, what I do is I specialize in investment people, you know, that do investments, and I'm an investor myself. And then, you know, I have a lot of clients that do wholesales. And I go, oh yeah, man, that's funny. You know, we work with our own attorney, and you know, the way we do our wholesales are with our own title company. But you know what? I would like to find out the way you work it, you know, because then if you tell me how you work it, you know, I'm open. Maybe I'll switch my title company and I'll switch it to you. And so we had the deal under contract, and he's like, hey, look, this is how you're gonna have to do this. This is how we do this. This is how we do that. And I was like, okay, cool. So that's how I started. I go, okay, so that's what he would do. All right, so we do that. And then I'm like, all right, so how would we get this document? You know, how do you guys get the document? And he's like, well, the way I get the document is I do this and that. And I'm like, all right, cool. You know what? You know, on this one, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use you, and we'll close this one with you, and we'll find out if from here on out we'll work together. And so the guy literally, as I'm telling him, I knew what I was doing, and that I was gonna, you know, that I was gonna.
What are you guys recording and for what purpose?
YouTube, like personal vlogging thing.
What are you guys talking about?
Investments.
Business.
Can't do any kind of marketing, any promotion, or any advertisement until and unless you have permission from the property.
It's more like interviewing.
Oh no, we're not talking about houses itself. We're talking about two investors.
Yeah, like interviewing. So what we would be able to talk about, like personal shit?
I mean, if it's personal, but you can't talk about any company, you know, any kind of promotion, marketing, advertisement, or anything that falls in that area. You would need to have permission from the property first, and if then they say okay, then by all means go ahead.
This property?
Yes, sir.
Oh, this property.
Yeah.
So
we need to talk to them.
So next time, who should we talk to?
There's a sign in the front. There's an email address and a phone number. You can contact them, let them know name of the company, whatever it is that you guys are doing. They do have stuff.
Just got kicked out of our spot. I wonder if this is on. So now we're going to find a new one. Just like in business and real estate, you gotta find new shit. Bunch of abundance. Make sure you're always getting new deals, going to new spots. And so once we get there, we'll continue our conversation. Mike says he remembers where he was at in his story. Where is he? On the phone now. Always working, man. Why do people work so hard? I don't get it. Got Ale here. I don't know why I gave me the camera, but all right. So we're gonna find a new spot and keep this going. Also, what I want to do is me and Mike have been planning to do an event, and I actually want to do like a quick 5-minute event planning session on camera on this vlog. So I think it'll be pretty cool. Meaning we're gonna talk about our ideas in front of you guys, like if we haven't talked about it yet, so I think it'll be pretty cool. Alright, so I don't remember where exactly we were, but do you remember?
So yeah, man, pretty much before they rudely interrupted us. Nah, just kidding.
Security guys.
So nothing. So what ended up happening is my first wholesale deal.
Oh yeah.
I literally conned an attorney to know, like, now him and I laugh about it all the time, but he's like, man, I thought you guys were the biggest in Miami, because the way I was talking, I'm like, no, this is how we do it, and what do you do? And then I would just say anything I would hear on a YouTube video that I hadn't implemented yet, and then I would tell him, how would you do it? And then he would walk me through the whole entire step. So when we closed, I remember when we closed, I'm like, hey, Dave, man, so funny. That day is my first wholesale, and I want to thank you for that. And he's like, no way. So that's pretty much how my first wholesale deal went through. I had no idea, but I figured it out. I had an idea of what I had to do, right? I have to buy it, find the buyer, and then I have to sell it. So I'm like, I can understand this much. Now everything in between, my attorney did for me practically.
Awesome, bro. That's so funny. That's funny. I have like a kind of similar story, and what I love from that is what he said is figure it out. I figured it out. Whether you use an attorney, whether you figure it out with another buyer, or you call somebody, it doesn't matter. Figure it out. Actually, my first buyer was an attorney as well, and something similar happened to me. But to not get so into it, the moral of the story is you figure it out. You get in there. You just do step one. When you get to step one, you figure out step two. Then you go to step 3 and 4 and 5 or whatever. And Mike, real quick, so tell us kind of like what your business looks like today. You know, what do you guys do to generate income? Also, how many people you have on your team, etc., etc.
Yeah, so right now, man, I have an office here in downtown. The name of the company is Rockwood Investment Group. We have an office in downtown, and right now we have a team of 7. Okay. So, you know, we're pretty much 100% off on the MLS.
Okay.
So I can truly say the last 2 years, all my business have come off the MLS. and maybe a few deals here and there off some auction platforms.
Okay.
So I've done some business on Zoom, I've done some business on Hubzu, but I really haven't done a lot of off market. I think, you know, my first year I did maybe 3 or 4 of them, but when I say off market, it wasn't, you know, what you're typically here, which is I did a mail out campaigns, or I did you know, yellow letters or anything like that. When I say off market, I found a buyer that was a developer, and I found out where he would buy, how much he would buy for, and I literally door knocked the whole entire neighborhood. And my first off-market deal, the way I did it was I followed up with the lady for about 3 months, and the way that she finally followed up with me is I left her a bouquet of roses in her door. And I told her, I know you are here. Please call me. Here are some roses.
That is tenacity.
She was like, hey, how are you? Who is this? I don't know what you left me roses for. And then, you know, I worked there for maybe another 2-3 weeks, and we were able to get that deal.
Bro, that is awesome. That is, bro, try to come up with an excuse after you hear that.
Yeah.
You know, like, bro, you leave fucking roses. You go out there, you get deals on the MLS for free. Like, you figure it out, you know? Different things work for different people, but what we're getting from Mike is, dude, I didn't know. I just fucking did something. Something's better than nothing. You do some things better than nothing over time, and you get some kind of result, and the result leads to hopefully money. And that's what we're trying to get here.